So, how do we collect data? What are the methods to collect data? I know that that was the question in your guys' head when I was finishing the last video. So, there's this kind of four major methods. One will be census, which is what the United States government do and did actually a few weeks ago or months, which is basically get data from every member of the population, right? So, oh, let's collect data about everything and let's use that. So, sometimes that's possible, sometimes it's not, right? To have depending on how long it takes and how much will cost, it's impossible. What kind of data you want, that's impossible, right? But some equipment are already collecting data when they're processing, and then you have data about everything. So a lot of times that cannot be done. Then you have sampling, which is you're extracting just a part of the data. So you have a population that you don't know the mean and you don't know the parameters, and then you're extracting a sample, and then you're using sampling statistics, which is most of the statistics that you guys learn about, to infer something about the population, so make conclusions about the population. And that's a lot of the sampling and statistics and data analysis that we use, because if we have the data about the population, you already know the answer, right? But just the statistics that we do with the 95% confidence level and blah 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 is for us to have conclusions about the population based on a sample, right? Of that population. You can do an experiment, and that's kind of a little bit more difficult to do, where you have to have a very kind of controlled environment, where you have to tweak and change some stuff and see what the reactions of people or process or product or equipment is. So, and there's a bunch of things about that we're not going to talk much about, called design for experiments, but you can do that kind of data collection, or you more like a observational study, and its intention is to look at cause and effect, or observing the process, or so things are not occurring under your control, right? You cannot decide what's going to happen, but you're still observing and seeing things, and make it a little more loose, right? So most of the time we're going to do some kind of sample, and that's why we have the beautiful and complex and fun statistics to work with, because that's the easy way, right? It's usually very difficult to have data about everything, and it's usually a lot more easy and simple and less expensive to just collect some part of data and then make a beautiful and nice and fun and really clever and smart, whatever, in conclusions about data. Okay, so talking a little bit about sampling. Sample is, as I said, you have a population. You take some individuals there. You do statistics, and you want to infer. You're going to conclude about the population. You don't know the population. If you knew, you didn't need to have the sample, right? And how do you collect data, right? Here say, oh, random selection. Okay, but how is random selection means? What are other ways? So there's two very bad ways of doing it, and they're very tentative. It's like the devil asks, offering you the apple to Adam and Eve, right? So they given really easy and really looks like a good idea, but will give you very very bad results, maybe wrong results. It is just the judgment of someone in the process saying, okay, when do we need to collect data about this process? And just come between 2 and 3, because that's when you need to look at, right? So that's someone telling you. So it's a judgment. You're only going to take that amount of time. What about all the other 8 hours that the process is working? Well, then you're not going to collect data. Well, maybe in the morning is a different situation than the afternoon, and the night is a different situation in the morning, and then you're not going to capture because you're only taking data from 2 to 3 because someone told you that that was the time that makes sense, right? That's not a good way. Convenience, the easier way to do it. Well, we have a slot of time between 2 and 4. The students are available. That's when they're going to collect data. Bah! Very bad decision. Okay? Because again, you're not going to understand the process, right? You're just saying, oh, I have some free time. Let's go get some data. That's not the way to do it because, again, it could be bias. It could be a situation that only occurs in that amount of time. The best way, just simple random situations. So, we did in a couple equations, or you flip a coin, or you throw a dice, and you find out when you're going to collect data, what day of the week you're going to collect data. And that could happen. It takes a little bit more planning, but, that could happen as well. The other one is more like a systemic, where usually is the best way, where you can say, okay, I'm going to collect data in the morning, I'm going to collect data in the afternoon, I'm going to collect data at night. I'm going to collect data Monday, and Tuesday, on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But I'm going to flip, right? Mondays with nights and afternoons. So then you have a stratification of the population, right? And if you think about it, we're getting very close to election, and you have polls and that kind of things, and they're always wrong. And it's a very difficult thing to do a poll, right? Because you can't go to city and then collect all the data there, because there's a lot of people that live far away from the city that think a lot different from the people in the city, or the suburbs thinks different from high-end neighborhoods or low-end neighborhoods, or people think in a different way, and you have to take a representation of the population in all these different groups in the right amount, right? Because if you have this state is a lot more people live in big cities. There's a different state politica than states where everybody lives in small cities, or so have more college degree people, less college degree people, more minorities, less. So these things can impact in the results of the data that you're extracting. That's why a systematic can be done, but have to be very well thought.